All right, hello again. Hi, hello. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna go with it. It's been one of those days, getting back into the swing of things. So hi, hello again. Hello. We are into our history now, and I'm so excited. I hope you guys got a chance to watch the video that I suggested. If you didn't, go back and watch it. I hate to admit this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and admit it. I was sitting on Saturday morning, and I don't know. I grew up, guys, watching cartoons as a kid, and so I just happened to go. I have PBS Kids, and I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch PBS Kids so I can feel like a little kid on a Saturday morning and watching cartoons again. So I did. And I just happened, it was like, oh, let me just, what is this Xavier Riddle thing? I'll just look it up and see. Maybe you guys have heard of it. I hadn't. But I looked and it was like, oh, he's talking about everything that we talk about in history and science and all of these different things. So I was so excited when I actually saw that he and his little friends did one on the Wright brothers. And there's something in that video, in that episode, that they say over and over again, something that I've kind of told you before, and now it's out there, and hopefully you caught it, that they said mistakes are okay. They help you to learn. And I was like, thank you, Xavier Riddle and friends and the Secret Museum. You guys helped to make my words come to life. So hopefully you guys watched it. If you didn't, go back and watch it. It's just the first half, so it's only like, I don't know, so many minutes. The second half is the Bronte sisters, which we don't talk about. You can watch that too, but I really, really enjoyed it. So I hope that you'll go back and watch it because it's really cool. And that's what we're talking about today. Two little boys who were curious, and they grew up to be two inventive men who decided that they were going to keep working hard. And they pretty soon came up with building a very important thing that would change the way we travel. And most of us already know that that is the airplane. So page 359 in your history books, page 359, chapter 36. And you see the picture of Orville Wright, He was born in 1871. And died in 1948, and then Wilbur Wright, and he was born in 1867, and he died in 1912. So just you can see what these two men looked like as grown men, but as young boys, we're going to learn what their life was like as young boys. For hundreds of years, people have been curious about flying. It is said that about 4,000 years ago, a Chinese leader strapped 47 rockets to his chair and had his servants light them, hoping to soar into the sky. Men have built wings and strapped them to their bodies and tried to take off like a bird. Two brothers from Dayton, Ohio, became interested in flight, and they would finally succeed. And they were Wilbur and Orville Wright. Growing up, Wilbur, Orville called to his older brother, "How does this work?" Orville Wright was a curious boy full of energy and questions. Mrs. Wright encouraged her children to experiment and investigate the world around them. She taught Orville and Wilbur how to repair things that were broken. "Look closely," she said, "and you will see how they are put together." Of all the Wright's children, Orville and Wilbur were the most curious. Orville and Wilbur's father was a circuit riding preacher. And remember, we've talked about that. You guys know what circuit riding preachers are. When he was away on trips, his circuit riding preaching trips, he would often choose a new toy to bring his children when he returned. One of Orville and Wilbur's favorite presents was a wind-up flying toy. And that's one of the ones that you saw in the video if you watched the episode of Xavier Riddle. Just a bonus fact that I want to share with you really quickly. Wilbur and Orville's mother was a kind of inventor herself. When she was a child, she watched her father in his carriage shop and learned how to use many different tools. So as an adult, Mrs. Wright built simple machines and appliances that helped her at home. She also made toys for her children. The boys went to their mother with mechanical questions and she gave them much help. So I just think that's just so neat, because this was a family that just didn't want to just say, oh yeah, that'd be neat if somebody could make that or invent that. They did. And that's where kind of Orville and Wilbur get their interest and their curiosity from, because their mother was the same way. Watch this, Wilbur, Orville said as he twisted the rubber band and watched as the helicopter-like toy took off into the sky. Let me try, begged Wilbur. The boys spent many days watching their new toy soar through the air. They built their own copies of the toy and made even larger ones. So they didn't just look at the toy and go, that's great, this is fun. No, they're like, let's build it ourselves. Let's see if we can make this toy and make it bigger and make it better. Wilbur loved sports. While playing ice hockey as a teenager, he was badly hurt. For the next 3 years, he had to stay home and learned from reading books. Reading books. It's important. In his family's large library. His injuries healed, but he did not finish high school or attend college. He and Orville were ready to go to work instead. So let's look back really quickly before we go on at the important names at the bottom, obviously. Orville and Wilbur Wright, they were brothers who invented the first successful airplane. And then Weather Bureau collected weather reports, storm warnings, and forecasts. So we'll talk about the Weather Bureau. And then Smithsonian Institution. It's a group of museums and research centers run by the United States government. So let's see what they're going to start. Printing business. Oh, before we do that, let's do with the important places really quickly too, so we can just go on. Important places, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Remember that name, and I'm sure many of you already know where we're going with this. That is the place where Orville and Wilbur Wright conducted their first test flights. So Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, remember that name. Printing business. Orville began a printing business. He made his own printing press out of spare machine parts he found and started printing his own newspaper called the West Side News. When Wilbur saw that his brother needed some help, he quickly volunteered. This would begin a lifelong partnership and strong friendship between these brothers. Wilbur and Orville, I'm putting both their names together, Wilbur and Orville. Wilbur and Orville spent much of their time sharing ideas about how to improve their business. What do you think about this? How can we do it better? Were questions these brothers often asked each other. They worked well together as a team. Their printing business began to grow. Bike shop. So they were printers. And wait, how do you go from printing to bikes? Well, the Wright brothers did. During Orville and Wilbur Wright's time, bicycles became very popular because only a few cars had been built. Riding a bicycle was the fastest way to get around town. Orville enjoyed bicycles and they were in high demand, which means a lot of people wanted them because they needed a way to get around. And so it became something that was very, very important. So when something is in high demand, it means like right now, toilet paper is in high demand. People need it because we can't find it anywhere. So if somebody wants to, they could just start making their own toilet paper and selling it and whatever. So this is what it's talking about. It was in high demand. So the brothers decided, well, if everybody wants bikes, then maybe we should start making them and selling them. The brothers decided to start their own bike shop. They repaired bikes that were broken, and they even designed and built their own bikes to sell. Their shop was a great success. So this is what I'm saying. These guys, they didn't just sit and think, yeah, that'd be nice. That's great. That's a great idea. No, they took their ideas and they said, you know what? Let's do something. You know what? People need bikes and they want them and they don't have enough of them. So let's get old bikes and repair them. Because, you know, Mom said we could always figure out how to put things together. Let's figure out how to put it together and let's make our own and we'll sell them. And they had a great bike shop business. These guys, they got some pretty good smarts going on, but we're going to have to wait until tomorrow to see what else happens with them. I hope you're as excited as I am, but we'll find out more about Orville and Wilbur Wright tomorrow.